Cheryl Todd here from Gun Freedom Radio, and we are at the 2018 SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I had the great fortune to bump into our good friend here, the Santa shooter, Marcus Weldon, Marcus Allen Weldon. And I grabbed him. I said, come on in here. We're going to get a quick interview together and talk about what has been happening with the book. You're in a second edition of the book. You've had some, legal dramas since we talked to you last. I just wanted to kind of touch base and see what's been going on. So thank you for taking the time to step in here and talk with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's been crazy. I just got my CPO back. I can carry a firearm now.
Oh my gosh. And all of this happened in December of 2014. And you just now.
I got my permit back the 21st of September.
That is crazy. So for
of
people,
2017.
For people that have been living under a bridge and do not know anything about the Santa shooter, give us just kind of the Reader's Digest version, because we don't want to give away what's in the book.
Yeah.
But tell folks what that is all about.
Well, it was 2014 December. I was working at an event wearing a Santa Claus suit for the event.
Thus the Santa shooter.
Santa shooter. Helping a coworker out, change a tire, and it got crazy when two guys ended up assaulting her, and I had defended her. And it became a situation where guns were drawn, and it was a shootout in the parking lot, and I ended up getting charged with 7 felonies, facing 30 years in prison.
So we're talking about you're just living your life, wearing a Santa suit, by the way.
For that moment.
Right. Helping a friend change a tire. Right? You're not looking for trouble.
Right.
You're not down a dark alley.
Right.
You're not walking around like you're John Wayne looking for, a gun battle. And danger came to you.
Correct.
And you were in a self-defense situation, not just self-defense, but defending the life of your friend.
Right.
And you ended up with 7 felony
felonies.
charges?
Yeah, it became a situation where I basically had to prove my innocence, and the other side played victim. We didn't have the videotape to prove it at the point until about 7 months into the actual case. It got bonded over for trial. I was put on house arrest, and then I had to hire experts to get the video and dig up all this information. And then one of the guys who was involved, he vanished. He didn't even come to court. So kind of helped me out.
One of the aggressors.
One of the aggressors vanished, and one of the witnesses that could have helped me vanished.
Oh my gosh.
So there were witnesses like the clerk who gave a great testimony. We couldn't find him, but I talk about in the book how I was able to get around that. And it was about 13 months altogether. Yeah, 13 going close to 14 months altogether, from the start of the shooting to trial. But the crazy part is, even though trial, I was vindicated, all 77 felonies dropped, I still was under bond for close to over a year.
Now,
and I didn't know about
under
it.
bond mean?
Well, basically what it means is that I'm unable to carry a firearm. I'm still pending in the system as far as being processed as potential felon, potential going to jail. And actually, it looked like I was, in the system, I was still waiting trial.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so it could affect the job.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave the country, couldn't carry a firearm, all the things that go into being a free man.
You couldn't even leave the state.
Couldn't leave the state. And I actually went to the NRA convention, didn't know, because it was over. I was like, okay, cool.
And we're doing social media.
And if I got pulled over, it'd have been all bad. So then I went down to the actual courthouse and said, hey, you guys made a hiccup. They said, oh, okay, we'll take care of it. Still didn't take care of it. Got pulled up by a police officer, a state trooper. He ran my name and he came and looked at me like, you're not supposed to be out. You're under bond. You're supposed to be in the house at 12 o'clock. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. That was like last year. What are you talking about? He started breaking it down like, hey, I'm just letting you know what your name is saying. And I was like, well, no, look, I don't have any tether. That's over with. You can actually Google it. It's over.
Right.
And he was
like,
just letting you
check
know.
out my book.
Yeah, check out.
You could read my book. I'm an innocent man.
And then I went back down to the courthouse. They ran me through another circle. So I got the media involved, and then it just kind of blew up in Detroit. And then all of a sudden they made a statement saying, there was a mishap on Mr. Weldon's side. His attorney should have did this.
It's your fault again.
It's my fault again, even though my attorney went up and talked to whoever he needed to talk to, and they told him it was clear. They was like, he's good. This is twice. So the third time we went to the media, got it taken care of. I had to spend an extra bit of money because my previous attorney who I used, I used another attorney to take care of it, which was a year later from the whole incident. So he was like, hey, you extra $1,000 to throw him because he's not even part of the whole case. He's just doing this because I'm asking him because I feel like, well, maybe my attorney's not doing his job.
Right.
But turned out that both attorneys did the same thing. It's just that neither one of them could get an answer. It was like they kept spinning them in circles. Like, oh yeah, he's clear. Here's his paperwork, but it wasn't showing up on the system. So it's like somebody's not pushing the button to cross it over. I don't know,
Right.
whatever that in between.
Find the button and push it.
Push it. That little gray area. Just
Yeah.
So I finally got my CPO back. I don't have my original firearm back. They kept that.
Really?
And they're trying to find it. I'm actually in kind of a little small lawsuit with that.
Oh, so it's not like they won't give it back. They've just
They
misplaced
it. So I'm suing
But that's
for my
probably
firearm.
that's probably your fault also.
Yeah, it's my
right?
fault
Where
also.
did you leave it in their lockup room?
In their care.
Right?
So
Wow.
But it's like I'm drained because it's like I'm tired of going down there.
So this is just total madness because when I'm sitting at home or I go to the movie theater, right, just like everybody else, we see there's a bad guy, the aggressor, he does something wrong. The good guy who's trained, responsible firearms owner, does the right thing, right, stops danger, and good guy just kind of walks off into the sunset.
Right, the movies.
How does that work in real life?
Well,
Not even close.
It's guilty until proven innocent. That's the subtitle of the book. I mean, a lot of it, firearms got a bad rep. When people who they group us all together, illegal firearms. They want every gun in the eyes of the prosecutor is an illegal firearm, in my opinion. It's like, oh, you carry a gun, you must be a bad guy, unless you're a police officer. To me, it's like the prosecutor, especially in Detroit, is anti-gun, so they're gonna come at you 100% tougher than they would someone who wasn't carrying a firearm, and they're gonna make you seem like you could have did something better to avoid the situation. You didn't necessarily have to pull your gun or use your firearm, deadly force. So they're gonna run you in this circle.
Like, why did you even have that flat tire?
Why did you even have that flat tire?
What is wrong with you?
I actually got asked on the stand, why did you carry a gun?
Really?
In Detroit.
You're like, we're in Detroit.
Why did you carry a gun?
I'm trained. I've gone through all the background check and the training. Why
it's all
would I
part
not?
of demonizing the gun owner. It's like, why did you carry a gun? I mean, to me, I paused and looked at her like, I'm in Detroit. I mean, are you serious?
Exactly.
So it's just, there's a lot of loopholes in the system. One of the things I learned too is that you can suppress evidence if witnesses don't show up. But the problem is you can have a hand in making a witness not show up. I mean, just think about it. Who knows? I don't know what happened to that witness that was part of my case. But it could have been easily a prosecutor or someone telling him, hey, get lost, or something could have happened in that gray area that I wasn't around to hear. There could have been a conversation
Well,
or anything.
You can't even accuse someone of thinking like it's a conspiracy theory to say something like that after what you experienced firsthand.
Yeah. Right.
Because at every step of the way. So you're being charged with 7 felonies. What about the aggressors? Was there any charges filed against them?
The main aggressor, he left the country and no one heard from him again. And it was like the prosecutor said, we don't know. We have no jurisdiction in Yemen. It was where he went. So we have no jurisdiction over there. We can't go find him and do anything to him. Then the other guy pretty much put it off like, well, I was just there. That wasn't even my friend. I was just, and it was like, he said he'd known him for 8 years, but it wasn't his friend. I don't know. I was just there.
Right.
And it became like, everybody's pointing the finger. But the main thing here is, if you're a firearm owner, you need to have some type of legal protection because you never know where you could end up on the other end of the stick, and stuff like that happens and stuff falls through.
Well, and the other thing is, and I don't know that this is top of mind for anybody who hasn't been through what you've been through, but all of these things that we're talking about, you had to hire this lawyer, then you had to hire that lawyer, and then you're talking about you wore a tether, which is the ankle bracelet, which puts you in house arrest.
You got to pay for that.
Right. So these things cost money, and oh, by the way, you could have probably lost your job because bosses get nervous oh, I got a guy wearing a ankle bracelet in here. That doesn't look too good for business.
Exactly.
Right? So the financial ramifications
Right.
are huge.
Huge.
Right? And you're a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still, it's like you've got a college loan
Exactly.
to pay off.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a good way to put it. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
You got a PhD in hard knocks.
Hard knocks. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
And so you got some huge bills you're still trying to pay off.
Yeah. I don't even know if I chipped away at the mountain at all yet. I mean, I haven't even. I don't even look at it as, I just say, hey, whatever happens, it'll come back eventually. I mean, but I was blessed because I had a family that supported me, a church that supported me, I had friends, people donated. I was able to go back to work after like 5 months of waiting. So I had a 5-month period where I didn't get any type of income. Then I went back to work and was able to work through the next 7 months. But it came out to about 44,000, close to 50 grand altogether when you just calculate everything. And I never thought that it would cost that much to do it. I have to actually prove your innocence. But self-defense experts, video experts, attorneys, all that starts to add up. And then tether, you're paying $100 a week for a tether.
Really?
So it's, not to mention the amount of money you pay in parking going to the actual courthouse.
Right?
People don't, you don't think of that. $20 every time you go down there to pay, and it's like you start adding it up. Like, wait a minute,
Right. Or you take the Uber, it's still $20.
It's still $20, and it's like you add up every little bit you're spending, and you're like, man, and I would never wish that on anyone. I mean, if you if you can avoid trouble, avoid it, and even if sometimes in my situation, it's not like I threw myself out there, but trouble can still come when you're not expecting it. So
absolutely. So looking ahead, because you do have a daughter, right? And I have a child. I have a grandchild now. What is the best advice that you could give them based on your experience? I mean, because I don't look at this story. I've read the book, and I don't look at any obvious, well, you did this wrong, right? So where are the cautionary tales here? How can we avoid, if possible, what happened to you that night and moving forward?
I always, it's hard to, I always tell people de-escalation tactics, but when someone's drunk, that kind of gets thrown out the window.
Right.
But,
well, the bullets are already flying at you. So what
It's just kind of like when you're trying to, but unfortunately, in the city of Detroit and different cities, there's a certain time of night where you shouldn't be out. And I hate to say it like that because you should be able to go anywhere you want to go.
Right.
But that time of night when the flat tire happened, maybe I could have called a tow truck or something, and I did it myself, which I tried to, but it still just fell apart. But it was kind of a fluke type of situation where it just happened, and it's like, it's unorthodox. It's not something that anyone could have really just put their finger and plan, like, okay, you're going to be wearing a Santa suit, someone's going to come and do this, and this is going to happen. It just happened. This was like one of the things that probably won't happen again. But if I had to give some type of advice, when you have your firearm, you got to remain vigilant, and you got to pay attention to everything. I mean, you got to make sure that when you pull up anywhere, you're looking the entire area. I will actually tell people to leave the gas station, like pull in the gas station, drive around, circle it, make sure that there's no one suspicious. Then get your gas or whatever you're going to do, because there's people who sit in the corner and wait for people who look like victims. You got to be extra cautious, because even if you have your firearm, you got an upper hand to a certain extent, but then you got the legal expenses that you may have to pay. So you really don't want to do that. There was a situation actually a couple weeks ago where I was driving down the street, and I don't know if I cut a guy off or whatever happened, but he's yelling. And I just ran through the red light because
I'm getting away from this.
Because he's
I
yelling.
would rather get the ticket for the red light
Any day.
than deal in an altercation.
Any day. I had my firearm on me. He was yelling. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he was mad at, but he was obviously upset with me. I looked at him, and I just kind of said, okay, I'm going to run this light. Because it's just like, why? I mean, if I roll the window down and then we get to going back and forth, and then all of a sudden he pulls a gun out, I'm like, oh, here we go again. I don't know what he's got. I don't know what's going on. So I just ran a red light. And it was just like, that was the decision I made, because there's a personal, I have a lot of responsibility now, that because my name is all over across the news now. I have a firearm. I have my firearm again, and they're expecting me to mess up.
Yeah.
So I've got to walk on eggshells.
Right.
I've literally, and I hate to say this, but I almost got a second guess, which could be deadly.
Right.
So I try to like avoid it because I don't want to be the guy who's if something happens again, I'm pulling my firearm and like thinking like, okay, don't shoot, don't, and then he shoots
Right.
me, or
Right.
you know something happens where I'll second
Exactly.
guess pulling that trigger and all of a sudden I get killed. So that's the scary part about it.
Sure.
But I really have. There's certain places I just don't go.
Sure.
I mean, I just won't go anymore. Bars at night, I'm done.
Right.
You know,
The courthouse.
the courthouse. Yeah, I'm done. It's just
Check
I'm
that
done.
off
Check that off.
the list.
Certain time, I still operate like I'm on tether. I go home certain times of night. If I do go out, I'm with friends, family, so I got like a nice crew.
Yeah.
They kind of like and everybody knows I get kind of like I got like crazy anxiety. So when I'm around a lot of people, I'm looking around like
Sure.
they're looking at me like it's okay.
Sure.
It's okay. And
Yeah.
even in the shot show, I'm walking. I'm like,
Yeah.
people.
Post-traumatic stress is no joke.
Oh, it's no joke. It's no joke.
No
It's just
joke.
like everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
Everyone's got something against you. That's in my
Right.
mind.
Right.
Everyone knows. I mean, I remember I walked through a mall right after the shooting, and I thought that everyone in there knew because what was going
right.
on.
Like you're wearing the scarlet letter.
Yeah, and it was like everybody was looking at me, and I felt like everybody knew the person who I had the encounter with. They were trying to get me.
Right.
I just left the mall. Like it was
Sure.
just like everybody was just staring at me, and it was just like I'm tripping. Like
Yeah.
I'm like. Then
Gotta
that's
get your legs back
oh
under you.
man. So I mean, it's not as bad now,
Sure.
but every once in a while I'll still have like that. Okay, why is he looking at me? Does he know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
does he know
Well,
someone?
now they probably want an autograph for your book.
I get people come to me now. It's a crazy experience.
There's that famous guy with the book.
Yeah, and that's another thing to get adjusted to. Have people coming up to you and asking you for advice. Now,
You've had a lot of people come to you.
A whole lot.
Your phone was ringing a lot when we were at the NRA meetings in, where was that, Georgia?
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. And it's moms of men who are just in this kind of situation you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what should I do? Should I take the plea? Because that's a huge part of your story.
A huge part, the
you
plea
were
deal.
Constantly being pushed to just take, it's just a year. It's just a felony.
It's just a felony.
Just take it, right? And you understood that by taking that year, that year, that's a life sentence.
That's a life sentence.
Because now you've got that scarlet letter F tattooed on you for jobs, right? For your own self-esteem, and that you knew it wasn't true.
Exactly. And forever, there was a young man we talked, and she told me, should he take the plea deal for 10 years? And he had a self-defense story. I went to the courtroom, I said, don't do it. And he walked out of there. I walked out of that courtroom a free man after spending 8 months in jail. Though he's sitting there for 8 months. But she was crying, and it was just like I listened to the evidence, and I was like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I know now, 10 years versus I think he was facing life because the guy actually died. But his was a little bit different scenario. But I just said after hearing everything, I said, yeah, don't take it. But that's also a lot of pressure on me because here's people with their loved ones asking me, what should I do?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm not legal counsel. All I can tell you is this is what happened to me, and I know the signs of a possible justified shooting that could come. Like listening to what the story is, and listening to looking at how the jury's percent. I can look at a jury member and kind of figure out where they're coming from because through the entire time I study how they look, and there's like certain things you can see.
Yeah.
They take notes when they look at you. If you take the stand, they have questions. If they don't have questions, sometimes that is a good thing or it could be a bad thing, depends. But there's certain things they do that okay, they're following me. And for my jury and the young man's jury, there were some similarities, and that's why I felt like he shouldn't take that plea deal.
And how big of a piece of the story or the pie or what can happen to you is your character and what people can do to your character and the way that they can paint you based on, and especially nowadays with the stuff that we post on Facebook and Instagram, and how much are you going to talk to your daughter about being careful in that area?
Character, character, character. Character means everything.
Everything.
Every single thing. You know, there's been cases where people have lost their mind and did something out of character and got off because their character was so good. You know, and they're like, wait a minute, no. But there's literally, I mean, character's so powerful to the point where there's people who have been doing bad their entire life, and then that one time they get caught, they didn't do anything. But because of everything else you've done in your life and with this image you put up, we're gonna book you. So it's the opposite. So character's huge, and I know that really brought the jury to a common ground in the beginning because they looked at my family, they looked at everyone in the courtroom, they were listening to just the little small discussions we had in the back, and trust me, they went through my social media. I know they did. I know, especially the prosecutor. And it was funny because when the prosecutor, I was going through my own social media, and I was like, well, I guess, you know, only picture she really got to say I did anything that, you know, could use against me is me in Vegas's last trip, and I was drinking. I was like, that's not too bad. I would leave that up. But, you know, it was just funny because I went through my pictures. I was like, other than that, me having fun in Vegas, there's nothing on my page. But there's people who have all kind of stuff. Yeah. And, you know, I watch what I put on Facebook anyway, but I really watch now. I really, really watch. Because something can be taken differently. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like a simple, you're out having fun with friends. And if you get, you know, he must be an alcoholic, and if you get a DUI, then they may be saying, well, you see here, he was drinking in this picture, and everyone has a casual drink. I mean, no. You just happen to just had a bad day, and you got caught drinking and driving, and now you want to use this Vegas picture of, you know, it's just crazy. So luckily, you know, that wasn't my case, but social media is the biggest thing, because that is what gives the public perception.
And you're handing that to them. Right, you've got to be thinking ahead about what could someone make of this thing that I've posted. It's just a funny joke, or it's just a, you know, whatever. But so as we wrap up, you know, there's insurance out there, right, for things that you've been through. One of those is, you know, insurance in air quotes, and that is, you know, maybe have a self-defense lawyer on retainer. If you carry, there's people that say, if you carry before you even go to your first concealed carry class to train, get a lawyer on retainer.
Get a lawyer on retainer.
Right? Then there's a couple of other insurance, like without air quote, type programs out there. How important would you say those are? It's like the NRA Carry Guard, there's the USCCA insurance. How important would those have made a difference in your situation?
Huge difference. Being proactive with, you know, the amount of time and money that you're going to be spending. I mean, I think figure $100, under $100 a month will save you hundreds of thousands. I mean, you can't beat that. We have insurance on our cars. We may never get an accident, but we have it. It's as simple as that.
As simple as that. And the people that I've heard some buzz out there, some news articles where the other side, the rights restrictors, are trying to say that, oh, well, this is just to make sure that murderers get off. And that is not how that works, right?
Yeah, there's a big debate actually in Detroit on Fox News, and they were using my story as an example. You know, we can dig and find stories where people may have got off because of this insurance later on down the line they shouldn't have. But it's like, I hate that we take those anomalies and just paint the whole picture of something. You know, I mean, we can find great stories where people got off because of the insurance and they were in the right and it helped them out because they didn't have the money. But we always pick those things are like the outliers of the situation. Okay, you see this one story here, this is why we shouldn't have it. Well, what about the millions of others? You know, and you're just like, everything has a, you know, loophole that someone can find and use or get lucky, you know. So I just think that there's agendas that they're being pushed, and they're using that agenda to like get across a law or something to kind of attack the Second Amendment. It's not really about the insurance. It's more so about what we want to restrict gun owners when it's all boils down to. That's what it boils down to. It's nothing about, they don't, if you really care like about lives, you know, there's other things you could be doing to stop violence and do so much more than just talking about something that the UCEA is doing or the NRA is doing. But like I said, it's good for them to get on TV.
Right.
A lot of people use it to get on TV.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I don't like this insurance policy. Let me call the news and talk about it. So.
Right. Well, and you know, you say there's other ways that other areas that people can put their energies that are really going to make a difference in crime and safety and that sort of thing. And you've put your money where your mouth is. You have been a part of a mentoring program
Right.
through your church for, I mean, long before this
Long
even
before
happened.
this even happened, yeah. And I'm also part of another one with the former mayor, and I do individual mentoring, where we get with the actual young man, and he shadows me for a couple hours a day. So, and it doesn't take a lot of money to do stuff like that. A lot of people think, well, I don't have a lot of money. If you just donate a couple hours of your time,
It's time.
I wish I could do more, but I have a life too. So, but those things go a long way.
Absolutely.
They go a long way.
All right. Well, get your copy of The Santa Shooter by Marcus Allen Weldon, Guilty Until Proven Innocent. Tell folks how they can find that.
Available on Amazon and my website as well, marcusweldon.com. But ebook is also available on Amazon, and it's so easy to find because once you type in The Santa Shooter, there's no competition. It's going to pop up. There's nothing else called The Santa Shooter. So very easy to find. Also follow me on Facebook, Marcus Allen Weldon. I'll give you tons of information on there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Great.
I appreciate it. All right. Cheryl Todd from Gun Freedom Radio. Be sure to follow our YouTube, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.